अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। तो आज की इस वीडियो में हम क्या करेंगे, 20 से आगे के जो क्वेश्चंस हैं उनको सॉल्व करेंगे। ठीक है। तो हम थोड़ा स्पीडली मूव करने वाले हैं, तो साथ रहिएगा और जितनी भी रिकॉर्डिंग्स होंगी उनको बड़ी केयरफुली सुनिएगा, ठीक है, ताकि हम आंसर्स कर सकें। तो अब हम स्टार्ट करते हैं अपनी इस वीडियो को। ठीक है, 3, 2, 1 स्टार्ट।
Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear a geography student called Caroline discussing her dissertation with her tutor. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 23.
Ah, Caroline. Come on in, sit down.
Thanks.
So how's the dissertation planning going?
Well, Dr. Shulman, I'm still having a lot of trouble deciding on a title.
Well, that's perfectly normal at this stage. And this is what your tutorials will help you to do.
Right.
What we'll do is jot down some points that might help you in your decision. First of all, you have chosen your general topic area, haven't you?
Yes, it's the fishing industry.
Oh, yes, that was one of the areas you mentioned. Now, what aspects of the course are you good at?
Well, I think I'm coping well with statistics, and I'm never bored by it.
Good. Anything else?
Well, I found computer modelling fascinating. I have no problem following what's being taught, whereas quite a few of my classmates find it difficult.
Well, that's very good. Do you think these might be areas you could bring into your dissertation?
Oh, yes, if possible. It's just that I'm having difficulty thinking how I can do that. You see, I feel I don't have sufficient background information.
I see. Well, do you take notes?
I'm very weak at note-taking. My teachers always used to say that.
Well, I think you really need to work on these weaknesses before you go any further.
What do you suggest?
Before you hear the rest of the tutorial, you have some time to look at questions 24 to 30.
अच्छा, इसके जो आंसर्स थे वो फिशिंग इंडस्ट्री, स्टेटिस्टिक्स और नोट टेकिंग था। ठीक है, अब हम इनको देख लेते हैं जल्दी से। इंक्रीज लिमिटेड, ठीक है, इस सर्विसेज की बात होगी, कैन बी टू, उसके बाद रीड ऑल नोट्स, ठीक है, और कुछ
Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
Well, I can go through the possible strategies with you and let you decide where to go from there.
Okay, thanks.
Well, some people find it helpful to organize peer group discussions. You know, each week a different person studies a different topic and shares it with the group.
Oh, right.
It really helps build confidence.
Yeah.
You know, having to present something to others.
I can see that.
The drawback is that everyone in the group seems to share the same ideas. They keep being repeated in all the dissertations.
Okay.
You could also try a service called Student Support. It's designed to give you a structured program over a number of weeks to develop your skills.
Sounds good.
Yes, unfortunately there are only a few places.
Ah.
But it's worth looking into.
Yes, of course. I know I've got to work on my study skills.
And then there are several study skills books you can consult.
Right.
They'll be a good source of reference. But the problem is, they are sometimes too general.
Yes, that's what I've found.
Other than that, I would strongly advise quite simple ideas, like using a card index.
Well, yes, I've never done that before.
It's simple, but it really works because you have to get points down in a small space. Another thing I always advise is don't just take your notes and forget about them. Read everything 3 times. That'll really fix them in your mind.
Yes. I can see it'd take discipline, but...
Well, if you establish good study skills at this stage, they'll be with you all your life.
Oh, yes, I completely agree. It's just that I don't seem to be able to discipline myself. I need to talk things over.
We'll be continuing these tutorials, of course. Let's arrange next month's now. Let's see. I can see you virtually any time during the week starting the 22nd of January.
What about the 24th? I'm free in the afternoon.
Sorry, I'm booked then. What about the following day?
The Thursday?
Yeah?
I can make the morning.
Fine. We'll go for the 25th then.
That's great. Thanks.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
अच्छा, तो 24 का जो था वो कॉन्फिडेंस को इंक्रीज कर रहा था, और ठीक है, कंटेन्स द सेम आइडियाज, ठीक है, और सर्विसेज की स्टूडेंट सपोर्ट की बात कर रहा था। ठीक है, लिमिटेड क्या है जी, प्लेसेस हैं, और कैन बी टू जनरल, ठीक है, और इसके बाद 3 टाइम्स नोट्स को रीड करने की बात की थी, और जो डेट डिसाइड हुई थी वो 25 थी। अब जितना
Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear part of a lecture about an experimental design for a house. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
जितना भी टाइम उसको यूटिलाइज कर लिया करें आप, टाइम रीड करने में जो बचा है। ठीक है, ऑनर्स अंडरग्राउंड किस चीज़ में इंटरेस्ट ले रहा था, और फिर हाउस, ठीक है, लेयर्स, इम्प्रूव, ओके, मिरर्स, डोमेस्टिक is all depth, environmental depth within. Okay, let's start.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. In the last few lectures, I've been talking about the history of domestic building construction. But today, I want to begin looking at some contemporary experimental designs for housing. So, I'm going to start with a house which is constructed more or less under the ground. And one of the interesting things about this project is that the owners, both professionals but not architects, wanted to be closely involved, so they decided to manage the project themselves. Their chief aim was to create somewhere that was as environmentally friendly as possible. But at the same time, they wanted to live somewhere peaceful. They'd both grown up in a rural area and disliked urban life. So the first thing they did was to look for a site, and they found a disused stone quarry in a beautiful area. The price was relatively low, and they liked the idea of recycling the land, as it were. As it was, the quarry was an ugly blot on the landscape, and it wasn't productive any longer either. They consulted various architects and looked at a number of designs before finally deciding on one. As I've said, it was a design for a sort of underground house, and it was built into the earth itself, with 2 stories. The north, east, and west sides were set in the earth, and only the sloping south-facing side was exposed to the light. That was made of a double layer of very strong glass. There were also photovoltaic tiles fixed to the top and bottom of this sloping wall. These are tiles that are designed to store energy from the sun, and the walls had a layer of foam around them too to increase the insulation. Now, what is of interest to us about this project is the features which make the building energy efficient. Sunlight floods in through the glass wall, and to maximize it, there are lots of mirrors and windows inside the house. That helps to spread the light around. So that's the first thing. Light is utilized as fully as possible. In addition, the special tiles on the outside convert energy from the sun and generate some of the house's electricity. In fact, and it is possible that in future the house may even generate an electricity surplus, and that the owners will be able to sell some to the national grid. As well as that, wherever possible, recycled materials have been used. For example, the floors are made of reclaimed wood, and the owners haven't bought a single item of new furniture. They just kept what they already had. And then there's the system for dealing with the waste produced in the house. This is dealt with organically. It's purified by being filtered through reed beds which have been planted for that purpose in the garden. So the occupants of the house won't pollute the land or use any damaging chemicals. It's true that the actual construction of the house was harmful to the environment, mainly because they had to use massive amounts of concrete, one of the biggest sources of carbon dioxide in manufacturing. And, as you know, this is very damaging to the environment. In total, the house construction has released 70 tons of carbon dioxide into the air. Now that's a frightening thought. However, once the initial debt has been cleared, and it's been calculated that this will only take 15 years, this underground house won't cost anything, environmentally I mean, because unlike ordinary houses, it is run in a way that is completely environmentally friendly. So, eco-housing like this is likely to become much more.
That is
अच्छा, तो अब हम क्या करते हैं, इसके आंसर्स जो हैं उनको देख लेते हैं। ठीक है। अच्छा, तो ये हमने 30 तक देख लिए थे, 31 से आगे थे। ओके, ठीक है। अच्छा, तो इसका क्या होगा जी? द ऑनर्स ऑफ अंडरग्राउंड वो थे बी में। ठीक है, इन्वायरमेंटल इश्यूज में इंटरेस्टेड थे। ठीक है, और उन्हें सस्ती जगह मिल रही थी तो ए हुआ। ठीक है, फिर उसको 2 लेयर्स ऑफ क्या, ग्लास। ठीक है, फिर इम्प्रूव द आइसोलेशन। ठीक है, फिर इधर आया द बिल्डिंग हैज़ मैनी इंटरनल मिरर्स एंड विंडोज। ठीक है। अच्छा, द हाउस में प्रोड्यूस मोर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। ठीक है, और रिसाइकल्ड मतलब क्लेम वुड जो थी वो किस में यूज़ हो चुकी हुई थी? वो फ्लोर्स में। ठीक है। अच्छा, यहाँ पर डोमेस्टिक वेस्ट इन ऑर्गेनिक इज ऑर्गेनिक। ठीक है। अच्छा, द यूज ऑफ लार्ज क्वांटिटीज ऑफ कंक्रीट। ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद फिर इन्वायरमेंटल डेप्थ विद इन कितने ईयर्स की बात हुई थी जी? 15 ईयर्स की। ठीक है, तो बाकी आप यहाँ पर भी अपने आंसर्स को देख सकते हैं पॉज करके जब भी आप देखना चाहें। ठीक है, तो ये मैंने इसलिए दिखा दिया आपको। ठीक है, 30 और ये 30 से आगे जितने भी आंसर्स हैं तो आप लोग यहाँ से भी देख सकते हैं। ठीक है, तो होप सो आप लोगों ने इसको एंजॉय किया होगा। ठीक है, तो इंशाल्लाह मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में टेस्ट 2 के साथ। थैंक यू एवरीवन। अल्लाह हाफिज़।